Well, there is the desolate heights here of Mont Ventoux. Nothing grows there, deforested many, many years ago for the use for the wood for building boats, and never regrew. Nothing grows up here, it's so cold. What a wonderful hour that was on Thursday. I hope you all agree. We'll take our usual break now, get our breath for this group. Well, I've never seen scenes like this on Mont Ventoux in my life. There are probably 600,000 or 700,000 people on the climb today. There's been a solid line from the bottom in Bedouin. Pelazzotti knows he's not marked by the race, and he's trying to run away with the day's win, and that's a fitting result when you're king of the mountains. But the battle for seconds and the podium in Paris is still here. Nobody will counter the move of Pelazzotti. If he's got the legs to catch the other two, he could win this stage today.
Frank Schleck, he's going back to see if he can find out where Andy's going back to see where brother Frank is, to just try and figure out what's going on. Why can't you follow me on the attacks here this afternoon? If you want to finish on the podium, mate, we've got to get clear as soon as possible.
Well, these are the two leaders here, Tony Martin, and with him is Juan Manuel Garate, the fast approach now of the Polka Dot King of the Mountains winner, Franco Pelazzotti, and the flags on the mountain here are for the United Kingdom. And with Mark Cavendish, Wiggins and Miller, we have had, we being the UK, a great Tour de France this year. The leaders are just inside 5 kilometers from the summit now. The battle for the podium is here. So this is they've come and merged together now as Wiggins looks for that 5-kilometer banner, 3 miles from the summit. You cannot get bigger crowds than this on Mont Ventoux. I don't know how we're holding them all here. Goodness knows where their cars are. We're inside 5 kilometers from the summit. Luis Leon Sanchez, this is about the third group on the road right now, with Van der Velde there as well. The battle between Astolosta and Le Mervel, split by 1 second overall for 9th and 10th. But we're waiting for the arrival of Pelazzotti up with the leaders.
Well, picking up the riders, that's Daniele Righi, who was in the early morning break of 16 riders. The race situation now just 2 leaders, chased by Franco Pelazzotti at 1 minute and 32 seconds. Jurgen van den Broek of Belgium there has seen the opportunity of maybe getting himself a stage victory, but they're looking for a further 30 seconds, and he's riding away from the yellow jersey group. There is a lot of infighting in that yellow jersey group. They're all watching each other, all trying to defend the position at the start of the day.
Again, no reason to chase Van den Broek. This is the battle here, and the longer it takes before they split it up, the less likely it is to change the overall classification. That means it'll be in favour of Lance Armstrong. Wiggins started the day 15 seconds behind Lance Armstrong. He needs to get 16 seconds to go over him. 5 kilometers to the summit. This very select group, the top men in the Tour de France, are climbing Mont Ventoux in front of an enormous crowd, and they're climbing it together. These are the 2 men who still lead. This man is coming fast and flying towards them, Franco Pelazzotti.
No, he certainly is. He's almost half the gap there, down to 1 minute and 20 seconds on the 2 leaders. He's ridden very sensibly over these last couple of days. Whenever he felt that he wasn't going to get himself any more points, he sat up and conserved as much energy as possible. I saw that yesterday when he sat up on the slopes of the climb towards the top, and he's just rode down towards the finish line, lost himself 4 or 5 minutes, didn't care about that at all because he has no position in the overall classification, and for him this is a very serious move.
The face of Lance Armstrong, who's come back to the Tour de France after a 4-year retirement, is still riding as good as the best riders in the world. Next year, I think he'll be back to try and win this race again. He tried this time, but he wasn't quite race fit enough, I don't think. The pain on the Ventoux, the pain on the face of Andreas Kloden, who sits in 5th place overall in the Tour de France, 1 place and just 2 seconds behind Bradley Wiggins. As the attack comes again, this surely will explode the group. Where does this man kick like that from?
Yeah, where does Lance Armstrong get it from as well?
He's amazing.
Because he's right in there on the slope, on the wheel of Alberto Contador, and they've gapped Frank.
Well, they've gapped Frank and they've gapped Wiggins, so if they've gapped Frank, they're going to have to hang up here, because the first three riders in the overall classification of the Tour de France ride in front of our cameras now. The white jersey of Andy Schleck, the yellow jersey of Contador, the blue jersey of Lance Armstrong. They are together, and this is the way they will be on the podium tomorrow in Paris.
Arte is holding on to 30 or 40 seconds over the yellow jersey group, and he may well start to nurture dreams of winning. Pelizzotti's at 22.
Frank Schleck, who is up here, is 24 seconds he requires over Bradley Wiggins to take his fourth place off him, and Wiggins is just about holding them in sight, but that acceleration earlier by Schleck has almost brought them up here to Pelizzotti.
Well, Pelizzotti looks over his shoulder. He's starting to learn why this climb is a climb that needs to be respected. It's a beast of a climb in the heart of Provence. Andy Schleck again out of the saddle. He really has had the legs this afternoon, but he's not been able to outfox and outwick Alberto Contador or Lance Armstrong. He never ceases to keep looking over his shoulder, and the reason he's doing that, Phil, is he's trying to look after his own brother.
Well, this is all
Tony Martin's come back.
Tony Martin has come back up to the leader here, so it's still two as they approach. We've got a banner up here, and I'm not sure what it will be, because it's got nothing on it. It should say 1 kilometre to go. I don't see a kite, but it could be exactly a kilometre from the finish now. Martin is back in here. Huge efforts required. Will there be enough lull in the action behind to give them their head? What a brilliant 1-2 that would be.
Well, there you can see the flags indicating how strong these crosswinds are, and there a little bit further back is probably the group, and one rider still in front of the yellow jersey group, and it's still Franco Pelizzotti. Alberto Contador just dancing on those pedals of his on the slipstream of Andy Schleck. Armstrong is doing a phenomenal performance here this afternoon, Phil. I had a feeling at one stage that he might have been put under pressure, but that's not going to be the case.
Well, Armstrong has never seemed under pressure. Contador has always been at or near his side, looking at him there to check on him, just like this rider has searched for his brother to try and pull the last ounce of strength out of his brother's body to dispose of Bradley Wiggins and Lance Armstrong. The only chance now for Frank Schleck is to replace Bradley, and that's not enough time. Bradley, you've got to ride your heart out now, because you are holding fourth place by the skin of your racing shorts.
Yeah, he started the day at 5:36, but more importantly what he did was started the day 1 second ahead of Cloden. Cloden's behind him on the road, but he's looking at about 23 seconds.
He's got to get he must not lose 24 seconds. It's as simple as that. If he doesn't, he'll hold fourth.
Well, looking over his shoulder, Andy Schleck once again, they pull Pelizzotti back into the fold. Armstrong is still there and still looking comfortable. There are now only two riders up the road in front of this group. And here's the big sprint.
This is the finish now, and Garate a little bit stronger, much more experienced than Tony Martin, a rider who we think one day could win the Tour de France. Today he'll finish second on Mont Ventoux, because Garate, the first man to attack the mountain, has finished it off. He's got the stage win. Now the times that matter are right here.
Well, Armstrong sitting there on the wheel of Andy Schleck, and he was on the defensive today. He knew he had to do a special performance to stay right at the top. And there, Phil, you're looking at first, second and third in the overall classification. Andy Schleck, Lance Armstrong and Alberto Contador.
Well, this is a victory for Alberto Contador in the Tour de France now, as he follows the man in the white jersey. He might even try to take him, I'm not so sure. He's still watching Lance Armstrong, making sure he's with him as they come up to the line. It is Andy Schleck who's got second. Contador salutes as winner of the Tour de France, and Armstrong is there. Frank Schleck is there. Now, if it comes up as 109 on the clock, then Wiggins will lose his fourth place in the Tour. So 109, it's my count. There might be a second out. Watch out for Wiggins now. Can he get up here before that clock? Yes, he can. Well done, Bradley Wiggins.